watch and burn.
Hey everybody, so tonight I am looking to discuss George Miller's 2015 film, and that is Mad Max Fury Road. Now this is the result of a comment I got. This is a request from Wade Clark 16, who I actually met. I didn't get his name at the time. I didn't get him or his friend's name, any of their names. It was a few months ago. I was up at a playground around here doing YouTube, and I met him and three of his friends, and we ended up like hanging out for 2 hours talking about the state of Canada and what a wonderful job Justin Trudeau is doing. Because we all agree that he is by far the best prime minister Canada has ever had. He's not. He's shit. But I'm not here to discuss politics. I'm here to discuss Fury Road. Now look, this movie, this was the first Mad Max movie in forever. Of course, Beyond Thunderdome was the last one that came out, I think, back in '85. And that was it. We figured that there was a trilogy of films. I don't really love the first Mad Max movies. So for me, there's really only 2 Mad Max movies. But then there was all this talk about Tom Hardy taking up the role of Max, and how Charlize Theron was going to be involved, and George Miller, of course, was on board, and he'd been writing this movie for a while. And the vehicles alone are worth the price of admission on this one. I mean, I have never seen a Mad Max movie go this hard. I was kind of disappointed, actually, with Furiosa. Me and my sister went to see that when it came out a couple months ago. And whereas I think the rest of the world was concerned that it was going to be some sort of Mary Sue girl boss situation, Furiosa definitely did not do that in the movie. But I was really disappointed with the vehicles in Furiosa. It felt like they cheaped out, and a lot of them were just motorcycles. But this movie pretty much puts every Mad Max movie prior to shame. The vehicles in this could not have been better, especially Immortan Joe's big-ass, life-size fucking Hot Wheels thing that he has. Every single vehicle in this sort of ups everything that Miller and company had built from the Road Warrior through Thunderdome and then right into this with Fury Road. I mean, this movie was just so expansive, and this movie was so exciting, and everything was practical. Everything was stunt work. There was very little CGI used. That was the other complaint I had about Furiosa. I felt that they kind of overdosed on CGI. Whereas with this, Miller, I read in an interview somewhere that Miller said that he only used CGI to accent the explosions. Like the chaos on the screen was all legit. Everything was actually exploding, and the war boys were actually jumping and diving on those fucking things that did this. And then the explosions off to the far side of the screen, they would have been accentuated through the use of CGI. So that's the other thing that makes this movie absolutely perfect, is the fact that it's all practical. I mean, the stunt work alone, the war dogs, on the thing. Like, goddamn, I don't understand what the war boys, I call them war dogs too, because I always signal back out to Rockstar's Manhunt, the game they released back in the early 2000s. And it's like War Dogs, the War Dogs with, what was his name? Ramirez was the head of the War Dogs. That game was so good. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I think now my one complaint about this movie, my one massive complaint with this movie was that this wasn't really a Mad Max movie. This was a Furiosa movie that guest starred Mad Max. So having Mad Max make a guest appearance in his own franchise, I thought that was a little disrespectful of Miller and company, because we'd been waiting. Like, I saw Beyond Thunderdome in theaters when I was like 6 or 7 with my parents, and Master Blaster was so amazing. And then the kids living off and like trying to rebuild society, discussing the Pocky clips and using bullets as decoration and rifles as walking sticks and shit. I thought Beyond Thunderdome was the most creative experience of my very short life. And so there I was, like everybody else from my generation, growing up absolutely worshiping Mad Max. And then finally there's a new Mad Max movie, and it's George Miller, and the vehicles look amazing, and the score is coming together, and everything's really crazy. And like, oh my God, all these dudes painted in white, and they're all got this giant heart on to get into Valhalla, and they got to be all shiny and chrome. And it sounds like a proper Mad Max movie. But then there's sort of that modern bait and switch going on, which of course at 2015, 2016, that sort of Disney bait and switch didn't really exist. But now that I'm so used to having the rug pulled out from underneath me with movies, like, you're led to believe it's one thing, but then when you get into the theater and actually you find out that it's something else completely. And that's kind of what was going on here. Despite the fact that the action was amazing, the acting was killer, Mad Max was cool, Charlize Theron as Furiosa, she was perfect. And I absolutely loved how scary Immortan Joe was and how we can just conveniently look past the fact that he's essentially running one giant rape factory in order to get his army grown. We'll just completely gloss over that because my God, is that ugly. You got all those chicks like forced to breastfeed all of the babies who will grow up to be more of his war boys. And you're thinking to yourself, wow. And then we just will again gloss over the fact that he is consistently raping the 4 chicks that Furiosa is attempting to save. And I thought that was like a really cool idea, and I thought it was really scary and everything, but this was a Furiosa movie. Max was just sort of along for the ride. She was the one that called all the shots. Max was just there in like some sort of supportive capacity in order to help Furiosa get these chicks free. So that bothered me a lot because, like I said, I'd been waiting since '85. I mean, we always heard rumors of another Mad Max movie, right along the same lines that we always heard that there was going to be a Freddy versus Jason. Like grade 5 turned into grade 6, then grade 8, then grade 9, and then the 90s came and went. There still was no Freddy versus Jason movie. And then by the time we actually got to that piece of shit when it was released, Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child, she was the best part of that movie. The rest of that movie was garbage. And so the same thing was happening here. Like, we wanted a Mad Max movie forever, and then we got it, and it kicked ass. Dude, the guy with the guitar and the bungee cords, that was amazing. But Max wasn't amazing. Max just felt sort of like some kind of feral afterthought in this. And the focus was all on Furiosa and the 4 chicks that were being raped on the regular. And it was like Max just kind of got the spotlight pulled from him, and I just didn't love that. I thought the movie was amazing. I thought the stunts were amazing. I thought the vehicles were killer. I thought everything about this was absolutely perfect, other than how Max got treated. It's like he had to kind of re-earn his own place in his own film franchise. And it was all for the sake of the attention being paid to this new character, Furiosa. I don't know. That didn't make sense to me. But this movie is perfect. And that was like my absolute favorite thing about the War Boys, was how they all had this massive hard-on to die so that they could prove to themselves, that they could prove to Immortan Joe that they would be worthy of eternity in Valhalla. It's like whenever they had the opportunity to kill themselves, they grabbed the spray paint and they up their mouths, and then they just leapt into it. It's kind of like, I remember like, that's exactly how I was when I was buying Grand Theft Auto 5. I remember that. I was at the Oshawa Center at midnight, and I'm like, all these fucking people are there. And I'm like, oh no, trust me. I'm getting this copy before all of you, because for whatever reason, that's exactly what happened that night too. Christ, it was like a fucking feeding frenzy. Nobody was listening because they were giving out posters and shit. And I remember me and my girlfriend at the time, like, we scrambled to grab as many posters as we could. And yes, somehow I just compared myself fighting to get a copy of a video game and some posters to killing myself for Immortan Joe. Wow, I probably shouldn't have done that. That doesn't line up at all. But it is what it reminded me of. I remember going extra crazy to try and get a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5 before everybody else, because I remember this one guy smelled really bad, and this other asshole was smoking this stupid hookah pipe thing. I just did not want to see the gaming face of Oshawa that night, but unfortunately I did. And yeah, I think I'm done because I'm completely off base. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for just about 9.5 minutes or so while I discuss George Miller's 2015 Mad Max installment, and that is Fury Road. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. It's easy. Give $1 to charity, or hold a door for somebody, or help carry somebody's bags. Tell them you like their hair, but don't lie. If you like their hair, only say you like their hair if you actually like their hair. But most importantly, never forget that the world is actually a way better place because you are in it. I'm going to get out of here because this went completely off the rails, and I apologize for that. Yeah. Have a good night.